everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another exciting installment. As you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be answering the question, what happens when I finally say yes? What does that look like? It's not going to be a long video, I hope, but I'm just going to throw in a few ideas or thoughts, and let's have a discussion and see if you agree with what I'm talking about. We're gonna touch on 3 points in answering that, and this is with my experience. Obviously, it's obviously different for everyone, and I'm hoping that we get to understand that it's unique for everyone, but this is my experience. God prepares the message, and God prepares the messenger, and God prepares the method, right? Let's jump right into it. So in 2014, please go back, I think a few weeks back, where I talk about how God told me or commissioned me to restore his order for female design. At that point, God was speaking to me about the message that he had for me, right? That whole year was engrossing me in understanding what this message is. And how did he do this? He did this, well, this is my inclination. He then started unpacking or dumping certain questions. It's critical for us to understand that if we ask the wrong questions, we will end up with the wrong answers. However, if we ask the correct questions, then it leads us to understanding God's intent for us, God's personally crafted message for us, personally, right? Meaning it doesn't look like anyone else. It looks like my message, right? And it has to be personal because you cannot copy another. The voice is different. He knows why he wants Miliswa to be the one to partner with him to restore his order for female design. And this is a probability that there are many people having a similar message, but it will never be the same way that God gave it to me. So that's what gave it to me. So that's why it's important for you to understand the nuances of your message. You need to understand, and I mean, part of what I do is help you go through concretizing your message, right? And your message is really nothing out of this world. It's not rocket science. Your message is your life. How has your life been, and what has God done, and what can God do with your life for other people? Because that is the key about purpose. If it's still about me, and just me, it's not purpose yet. Purpose is people orientated, right? That's what God is about. God is in the kingdom of his people. The ultimate aim of kingdom building is to reconcile God with his kids. That's why Jesus Christ came, is so that he can reconcile himself. He can reconcile us back to God. And after he has done that, he is then asking us to be ambassadors of his kingdom to other people. And are we failing to do that? Are we not showing up as kingdom ambassadors where we're supposed to be? What I'm really, really passionate about when I talk about the message is just how what you have gone through was so important for where you are going. In my other video, I mentioned how for me, law and my passion for women have always coexisted. That's why it kind of made sense when I wanted to merge them, because they have always coexisted, right? However, what was key for me when he delivered me from the feminist streak movement that I was on, it was key that I actually had gone through that journey and he had delivered me for the message that he was giving me. Because he was then saying, you've lived it. What I am saying, you must restore as God's order, right? You have been on this journey. Now you have changed and then you've taken another journey, right? And he was now saying the exact same thing that I did for you, package it and give it to my girls. Because where are my girls, the king's daughters, right? And that message will never resonate with anyone except the people that are called to me. That sounds so wrong. That are called to my voice, have voice, right? So it's very, very important for you to understand your life's message. I feel like we live on the by and by, right? We live not fully alive to the experiences that we go through, and therefore never take lessons out of it, and therefore can never serve our lives to other people as a gift to them, right? So I think I'm always going to think back to what are we then conversing about today, which is what happens when I say yes. So the first thing I said, God prepares the message, right? He formulates, he helps you formulate your message. But the second thing is that the God prepares the messenger. God prepares the messenger. Now, I romanticized this. I did. So in 2014, on my blue journal, I journal a lot, and I love journaling. That's how God speaks to me. In my blue journal, I wrote about these 3 points I'm actually talking about today. And when I was speaking about the messenger, I had ideas of how God prepares a messenger, like beautiful ideas. Nothing like I had to go through for me to be prepared for the message that he has for me. And I think part of the reason why I'm sitting in front of a camera right now is because at the time when things were happening, I looked for books. I wanted to find people who can tell me that, hey, listen, it's normal. God is busy preparing you, and I didn't have all of that. I was like, it was later on, after years, and it was later on where I got to meet some people that say, don't you worry, that's part of the process, right? But God prepares the messenger. Let's think about a famous known person, not famous known person, but a famous known person in the Bible. Let's talk about Joseph, right? Joseph has this beautiful dream, and he has ideas of what that looks like. Oh, you guys are going to be bowing down to me, and the moon and the sun and the sky and whatever else, right? And little did he know what it would take for him to be able to see what he was seeing come to pass. And you know this, right? He takes him from the pit to Potiphar's house, to prison, and then only up there. Now that was how he was preparing the messenger. Because part of the mistake that we have is that we've got people who've got platforms but have never been prepared. And what that looks like is that they come onto platforms like this or physical platforms, whether in churches or whatever stages that they have, they come in there with their natural power. And God says, no, I'm not going to share my glory with you. I've got to kill you first. And that's not what we want to hear. Because when you say purpose for me, I'm thinking, yeah, let's go change the world. God says, yes, of course we will change the world. But let's first kill your flesh. That's not nice. What does that look like? And it's different for everyone, right? But it is important that we kill the flesh before we ascend any stage. If we are ever gonna show any kind of, if we are ever gonna impact any number of people, because that's just God's process, right? When you say yes to purpose, He perfects your message. He then comes for you, mama. If there are things, not if, because there are they, all of us. We've got quirks, we've got things. God says, no, this I can't have here. This I can't have here. I'm going to kill this and I'm going to kill this and I'm going to kill that. So in the next coming videos, I'm going to be taking you through just a glimpse of what process looks like. But I go into detail when you join me in my one-on-one or sessions like that, where I take you through what it looks like for God to take you through purpose. But you must understand and know that He perfects the man. He perfects the messenger. And I think what I can give or share at this point is that He does that through suffering. It is critical for Him to be able to process you through. I mean, suffering is part of life. Nobody can escape it. But God gets to use it. That's the nice part about it. God gets to use Melissa's foolish decisions. God gets to use Melissa's trauma or ill-advised ideas or whatever it is for His glory. Does God cause hard things to happen to us? I think God uses them. I think what just comes to mind right now is Job. I love Brother Job. He is just the greatest. And Brother Job is really an idea, or is really a personification of what it looks like when suffering hits a person. And most of us are truly Jobs walking around with our hearts oozing and we don't understand why. And I think once we can reframe why we go through the things we go through, we become powerful to God. We become not powerful, useful to God, right? Because now look at Job. Job was busy minding his business, right? He was busy doing his own thing, and he never asked God for anything like that. But guess what? God was bragging on him. God was like, have you seen my son down there and how great he is? The devil is like, it's all the protection that you have around him. But otherwise, I could try. God says, yeah. He says, yeah. God gives permission. Guys, please go and read it out. The permission He gives is like, yo. But God was making the man. God was making the man. Which is the same thing as Paul. Paul was Saul, right? Busy doing his own thing, persecuting God's people and. God says, what are you doing? Why are you persecuting me? He's like, how am I persecuting you? He's like, of course you're persecuting me. Though I'm going to make you blind. You're going to go there. This is what you're going to do. And for 15 years, Paul is in the backside of some place, unknown, obscure, sitting there. And when he does come out and he starts preaching, they come for him. Like, literally, I think this is 1 Corinthians, where he says, I was distraught because they had beaten us, they had done what? He was even considering not living anymore because of the things that he went through. But God was perfecting the man. There are certain things that God wants to take out of you, and he cannot take them out of you if you still alive with your ideas and thoughts and rights and so forth. So he's got to kill the flesh, right? The last, but I'm going to be short on this one, is really the method, right? Meaning the mode of which you do it. This for me, I think it's neither here nor there, how you then take the message that you've been given and your personhood and package them into something that God uses. But there's got to be a methodology in terms of how you then share the message that God has given you, whether in the boardrooms, whether in the church, whether in the conference, wherever it is that God is taking your message. But you've got to have a method in terms of how you're going to do that, right? And I think I wrote this here because most people just think, and which is part of my mistake also, was that, oh no, I've got to share this message in four walls of the church. God is like, no, I don't think so. That's not you, right? Now, I had to then rewire my brain to be able to package this thing in another way, right? So though he said no, not in the four walls, he then took me out, and even in that out, it kept changing. It keeps changing. And I think I bless his heart that it keeps changing, because we'd be married to a method. Some of us are so stuck in the four walls of the church that we are not impactful to anyone, even the people that we think we are called for. And God probably is saying, that's not where I called you. I want you to put your message together and go and talk to the people in the clubs. But that will challenge your thinking if that's what you don't embrace, right? Because your method is, no, I've got to only share in a certain space. I can only share in a certain space. But you've got to allow the Lord to send you everywhere. Matthew, is it 18:20? Where it says, from go and share the gospel. Like go, meaning go and share the gospel. Then he tells them regions for which he's going to do that. That's not only limited to four walls of the church. There are people who will never see those rooms, but those people will meet you somewhere. So you better have your message prepared and ready, right? So I think here, and I think this is probably my upbringing or the way that I was taught, or maybe, and this is my mistake, when God called me initially, what I saw in front of me was like few people doing this, but part of the ones I saw who were in the public spotlight, I thought that's how it's supposed to look like. I truly thought, I love Joyce Meyer, but I truly believe that it's supposed to look like Joyce Meyer. And he allowed me to think that for a while until it didn't work anymore, right? And it didn't work because it wasn't supposed to work. It didn't work because that's not how I was supposed to do it. I mean, even to the point where I had only thought that the message that I have was for church girls, only in conferences and stuff. Now he's shifting it to the marketplace. He's like, my girls are dying in the marketplace. They are in a 9-to-5 that they hate, and I want you to go in there and find them for me, right? So what I'm saying with this example is that it truly morphs and moves according to what he wants. And one thing that I've heard to learn, and I know that you will have to learn, is dying to the ideas that you had. Because it's really a death, right? If you truly had this idea that this is how it's going to happen and this is how it's going to look like, but when you hit reality, it's like nothing like what you thought, you need to concede and say, okay, it's nothing like I thought. Now I'm going to shift and go the direction that God takes me. And even that is not going to stay. That's why they always say that purpose stays, mission changes, like in terms of the way that how you do it, right? So let's not get married into that. But those are the three things that I wanted us to just have a chat about. If you've had your own experience, if you've had your years, let's talk about it. How has God outworked it for you? How did it look like for you? What stands out in what we just chat about now? Comment in the section below. And I'd like to invite you guys to just talk to me about what kind of answers are you busy looking for now, or what kind of questions are you grappling with, and let's talk out loud, or let's have you think out loud, and let me address that with the help of the Holy Spirit. And I'm hoping that out of these conversations, you are getting much, and you'll be getting more as we go on. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.